Rapport building part of the training here, the purpose of it really is to make that initial connection to the prospect. It's to get them relaxed, at ease, and comfortable with us, to invariably open their mind to what it is that we have to say and to be willing to listen to us. This is a critical step of the presentation. Without rapport and without a connection, you're not going to do very well convincing somebody to buy from you. So we have to deliberately build the foundation to a relationship purposely right here at the beginning of the presentation as we're inside. How much rapport building should you do? This is a common question that I get asked. A lot of people think that, you know, should you spend and talk 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute? And that's a great question to ask. And here's how I would answer it as we get into the actual scripting here. Rapport building is something that you just need enough of. I went on a training once with some guys that were with, I forget what their guys' names was, Tim Winders. Some of you guys, maybe if you've been around long enough, remember Tim Winder. I forget the agency he was with, but he was doing a training, and the only thing that I really picked up that stuck with me forever was all rapport building is about ultimately is breaking the ice. All we really care about to do is just get the client friendly with us. Being friendly is different from being friends, right? Like, it takes time and effort to develop a friendship. But being friendly is something you can establish in a couple of minutes if you know what to focus on, and of course we'll teach you that. And it's just being friendly is all you really need. You just need a little bit of friendliness and openness to create a position of relaxation from the client so that they'll be open-minded to what you're going to say. Now, one other element of rapport building too, and this is probably the most difficult part of rapport building. In a sense, it's the most subjective part of the script. You know, we talk about the script. One of the elements that I train my agents on is you got to follow the script. Like, the script is there for a reason. It's the track you run on. We don't put the script together to not follow it or to feel like following certain parts. The script is put together for you to follow it. It is the standard operating procedure that gets results. Why would you deviate from it, right? But the problem with the rapport building side is there's a sense of read and react that goes on. When I say read and react, this is that skill set that you have to develop in the heat of the moment to read what's going on and then react accordingly. For example, I can't tell you what rapport building question for sure for each of your prospects is going to find them be more endeared to you, that they're going to be flattered by. They may love talking about how retirement is not all it's cracked up to be, or they may sneer at it and think it's a silly question. I don't know what to expect. So you have to think on your feet and be aware of your surroundings and how the client's answering. And when you find something of interest to the client that the client likes to voluntarily talk about, it's better strategically to go deeper than it is to go wider with more questions. Again, one of the things I notice more of an issue with telesales agents, but certainly the case with face-to-face agents, is that sometimes agents will not go the they think that kind of checking the boxes on the script we're about to look at for the presentation is all you really need to do with the rapport building stage, but it's really not. You want to find the thing that they're interested in, then focus your entire conversation about that thing that they're interested in and ask some follow-up questions. And generally speaking, the average time to build sufficient rapport is just a couple of minutes. Sometimes it's less. Sometimes it's more. It just kind of depends on the person. But rapport building is something that shouldn't take you 10, 15, 20 minutes. If you're taking that long to build rapport with somebody, you're either just an incredibly wonderful people person that is going to find that your time is going to be taken advantage of and it's not going to be used as effectively as possible, or you're not seeing the cues that the client gives you that they're comfortable with you and ready to proceed. So a couple of things on this just to discuss. Rapport building, what are some of the cues we need to be concerned with? Number one is their physical tells, right? Everybody has tells that tell you that they're relaxed or comfortable. What I'm looking for is physical signs of relaxation. They're comfortable in their seat. They're set back. They're not covering up with their arms covered up like this. They're looking you in the eyes, like Brian said. They're smiling. My favorite is they're laughing. If I got them laughing, I got what I need. They're comfortable with me. Somebody who's laughing, hopefully with me, not at me, is somebody who's comfortable being themselves. Okay? So that's a good sign that they're comfortable and that they're willing to listen to you. So in fact, when I hear them laughing, I'm looking for the exit ramp into the next part of the stage. So these are the things I'm looking for. A couple other tenets really important with rapport building. You've got to ask open-ended questions focused on the prospect, not focused on you. A common mistake agents make is they'll say, so do you have any grandkids? Yeah, I've got 5 grandkids. Oh, that's awesome. I have grandkids too. I'm actually 55 and I just had a grandkid yesterday and boy, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. She's 5 pounds and, came a little early, but boring. Nobody cares about you yet. You see, the problem with a lot of rapport building, it's like, okay, now you told me an inkling about yourself. Let me tell you a tsunami about me, right? That is a wrong way to approach rapport. And a lot of this is meant with good intentions, but they're met with resistance because now you're focusing the conversation on you. The point of rapport building is not to tell them about you. It's for you to listen about them telling themselves about themselves. Does that make sense, everybody? The goal of rapport building is to focus on the interests of the client. Again, I had a client who was talking to a prospect. She had bladder cancer. We were listening to her and critiquing a sales presentation. And as soon as she mentioned that, he said, oh, it's terrible. I had prostate cancer, and took the next 2 minutes describing the intricacies of having prostate cancer, which, listen, I'm sure for a lady isn't a nice thing to hear with a stranger. So a little weird, right? The better thing to do would have been to say, oh, wow, what happened? How did you get it? Did you have to do chemo? Really? What was that like? Was it painful? How did you survive? Were you close to death? What was that like? I want to focus that rapport building stuff on her first and foremost. Okay? It doesn't mean you can't talk about yourself, but take the perspective that talking about yourself is not the priority here. It's not. People will find you actually more interesting and intriguing the less you talk about them and the more you talk about the prospect. It's an interesting process that I think you'll draw people more magnetically to you when you're asking questions about them and keeping it all about them. Hey, if you're liking this training, just wanted to let you know about my insurance sales success free training site. I've got over 30 plus hours of in-depth final expense, face-to-face telesales, as well as Medicare, ACA, and annuity trainings. My 3 best-selling ebooks completely for free, and you can go to davidduford.com/ISS to get a free account and get immediate access.